Chapter 21 of The Seventh Most Important Things by Shelley Pearsall. Arthur had no idea what the silver toaster knob was supposed to mean or why Mr. Hampton had given it to his little sister. He thought he might get some answers when he went back for his first Saturday of probation in January, but nothing had changed. He arrived at Mr. Hampton's garage on January 4th and found the same list in the same cart. Nobody around, no other notes. Arthur figured maybe it had just been a coincidence. Maybe the guy happened to be taking a stroll past their house and had the toaster knob in his pocket, so he decided to give it to Barbara. But then something happened at school that made Arthur begin to wonder even more about the connections between his work for Mr. Hampton and his life. It all started when Arthur forgot his earth science textbook in his locker. It was a couple of days after they got back to school from the Christmas holiday. They were having an open book quiz. He needed the book. Normally he tried to avoid going to his locker to get anything during lunch when the 9th grade varsity football players liked to hang around in the gym hallway and goof off. A lot of them were the size of Slash from Juvie or bigger. Arthur knew it would only be a matter of time before they tried to test the brick-throwing Juvie kid for fun, just to see how tough he really was. He didn't want them to find out he wasn't very tough at all. But he knew it would be an instant detention if he didn't have the textbook, and he didn't like disappointing Mr. C. So he ate his lunch quickly, tossed his trash in the garbage, and headed to his locker, hoping to get there before the jocks. His locker was halfway down the gym hall, just past the water fountains. As he came around the corner, he noticed a big group of guys gathered at the end of the hall. They were huddled around something. "Crap," he said under his breath. He considered turning around and going back to the cafeteria. He'd just blow off the quiz, he told himself. Who cared? But the group had already spotted him. If he didn't want to look like a total wimp, he had to keep walking toward his locker. He tried to seem preoccupied with what was outside the hallway windows, as if he wasn't paying attention to the jocks and didn't care what bad stuff they were doing. He'd just go to his locker, get his book, and leave. They could do whatever they wanted. Wasn't his problem. It was the laughter that forced Arthur to take another look. He'd heard that kind of raucous laughter before, in Juvie. It always meant trouble. In the middle of the jocks' huddle at the end of the hallway, he noticed one of the big gray trash cans from the cafeteria. As he watched, one guy reached from behind his back for a basketball and suddenly whipped the ball at the side of the can. It hit pretty hard. The can wobbled and the ball ricocheted down the hall. More wild laughter erupted from the group. Arthur couldn't figure out why a cafeteria garbage can would be sitting in the hallway, or why the jocks would be gathered around it, laughing and whipping basketballs at it, until he saw the top of somebody's head appear.